is the temp today? Well, that makes sense why my drink is already warm. Is that my GameCube? Too bad it's not an IceCube. Wait a minute. GameCube? IceCube? Cold drinks? That's it!
So for some reason, I came up with an idea to turn this broken GameCube into a can cooler. The reason I did that is I have this broken can cooler right here that I got for like 50 cents because it was broken. So I first need to figure out why this thing isn't working so I can transfer everything from here into here to turn it into a can cooler. Make sense? Let's go. Hello and welcome to the most cursed video I have ever made. And no, it is not because of my acting at the beginning or my hideous face. No, this video took me 2 months to make, not because of me not trying. Right? Not because of not me trying. Yeah, that sounds right. First, I cut my finger down to the bone working on this project, and I couldn't use my hand for a few weeks because of that. And then once my finger started feeling a little bit better, I left the state for a week to go to a wedding. Once I returned, I got the flu and was feeling way too crappy to do anything. And once I got better from that, I ended up falling down the stairs at my house. Yeah, I think the ghost of this GameCube is out to kill me. And speaking of this GameCube, before anyone gets mad, this is a donor cube. I am using a bunch of these parts to fix another GameCube I have. Don't worry, all of the parts that ever come out of these videos I use for further use. As you probably saw, I figured out what was wrong with the original cooler, and really all that was wrong with it that made it so it didn't work was the positive leads on the plug were ripped off the post. So I soldered that back together and tested it once I put it back together, and it worked perfectly. So the next bit of this piece is I needed to cut everything out and be able to fit everything into this space. And yes, this is around the time that I cut my finger up. So if you do see a bandage every once in a while in here, it is because of that incident. And it really hurt. And no, I did not get it on camera, if you are wondering. That was one of those moments that I turned off the camera because I was like, I got enough footage of me cutting this same thing over and over. Basically, what I really just needed to do was make sure I had enough room for the cooling unit, the heatsink, and the fan to all fit in here. Originally, I wanted to add these larger white computer fans to it, but sadly, I couldn't remove enough plastic to fit it all in there. But thankfully, I had a bunch of small CPU fans from my computer junk drawer, so I ended up just using those instead. I also went in and added a larger heatsink than the original heatsink that was in this cooler before. Once all that was done though, I needed to get some paint on this thing. Okay, so all the base paint was finally put on this thing, and I really liked this blue and white gradient with a nice little silver setup, which is just beautiful by itself, but I really wanted to make it so the GameCube felt like it turned into a Nintendo IceCube instead of just a Nintendo GameCube. So I drew some ice cubes all over this thing, and I wanted to add this very cartoony feel to everything, but I also wanted to have some a little bit less cartoony cubes as well. So some of them have faces and are content with melting, and the others not so happy. Now, to make sure this thing was nice and crisp, I used my new trusty Posca markers. And I chose not to use the black on these cubes because I thought it would be too much contrast to the body of the GameCube. So I chose to go with this dark blue, light blue, and white color scheme for the entire thing. Okay, so everything is painted, it has clear coat, and it's ready for the electronics and reassembly. So assembly was actually pretty easy for this. Basically, all I really needed to do was solder all the wires up and connect them to the post on the outlet connection. One thing I also wanted to make sure is I added a light to make this little acrylic chunk in the front blue instead. But I think everything is together, so let's check out the final results. Okay, so the question is, does it actually work? Yes, it does work. Now, it works better mainly for keeping your drink cold that was already cold, so, you know, if it's already chilled, perfect. If it's at room temperature, it takes about a half hour to 45 minutes to get this thing up to a very chilled temperature, which still isn't all that bad. And so far, it hasn't gotten too hot, everything is staying nice and cool, the fans are cooling off everything, so I consider this a success. But I also want to thank my patrons for helping support these videos, and if you want to get some more behind the scenes stuff and some updates, go check out the Patreon yourself, and like always, keep drawing until next time. Bye!